Hi everyone, welcome to Mind Out Loud's June workshop. This workshop will be featuring Mind Out Loud student reps and student directors, and we'll all be sharing a bit about our journey in Mind Out Loud and what we've learned.
A quick disclaimer, Mind Out Loud is a student-led program and many of the materials are student-created. The information provided on this platform is for general informational purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or qualified mental health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical or mental health condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you've read on this platform. If you think you may have a medical or mental health emergency, call your doctor or 911 immediately.
So I will go first. My name is Wendy, and this last year was my third year as a student rep in Mind Out Loud and my first year as a student director. So a little bit about my journey and my time in Mind Out Loud. I joined Mind Out Loud my freshman year of high school, and this next year, I'm going to be a senior, so it's been a full 4 years soon. I spent my first 2 years as a member of the outreach committee. So what we did was we planned and led monthly workshops on different topics regarding mental health and youth mental wellness. And we also had a monthly newsletter at the time, so the outreach committee was responsible for that too. So we would work on Canva together and we'd interview like other student reps or highlight important stuff that we were working on, important projects. And this year I was a student director and also a member of the publications committee. And something new we did this year was we had a bi-monthly roundup that publications was responsible for. So we would switch roles between writers and designers, and we also worked on Canva, and we would talk about different aspects of mental health in the form of literature or in the form of what other committees were doing. And my favorite memory from my time in Mind Out Loud would definitely be either introducing the speakers for workshops back when I was holding workshops with Outreach, or this year leading breakout sessions during the annual event. And I think the main things I've learned from my time in Mind Out Loud is definitely I've improved my creativity and design skills so much, having to use Canva every day in outreach and publications. It's helped me create marketing materials for other activities I've been involved in, but it's also helped me build a more unique style of thinking, more being able to analyze things more creatively. And most importantly, I think in Mind Out Loud, I've learned how to take responsibility and learn how to take initiative. I've sort of realized that being a leader isn't something you can plan. When someone needs you to step up last minute to host a workshop or fill in for someone else's place, these aren't things that you can expect ahead of time. But I feel like as a leader, this is a quality you should be able to embody in everything you do and in the choices you make. And in Mind Out Loud, I've been able to be more comfortable with myself as well. From our weekly meetings, I've been more willing to share my ideas, give my feedback, or just silly information about myself interacting with other people. And with my experience from Mind Out Loud, I've created a youth-focused emotional literacy workbook, and I've been holding workshops this summer with the same theme of youth emotional literacy and youth emotional awareness, mental health awareness. And I think this was really heavily inspired by Mind Out Loud's mission to spread mental health awareness and emotional literacy. And I also think that it's just really so important to evaluate how mental health and mental wellness ties into your own understanding of the world when you're trying to figure out what activities you should do or what projects you should spend your time on. Think about your passions first and your values and how mental health really fits into all of that, and combine everything together to sort of understand how you can help your own community or how you can be more involved.
I'm Shruti, and I am a first-year student rep and an incoming student director. So, a little bit about my Mind Out Loud experience. I joined Mind Out Loud this year as a freshman in high school, and I was a part of the outreach committee, which, as Wendy said, is in charge of leading workshops, which invites like outside guest speakers. I also co-led a pillar on suicide prevention at our sixth Mind Out Loud annual event, and Mind Out Loud gave me the space to meet so many new people, and it gave me many opportunities to advocate for youth mental health. So, a few things I've learned this year is that I've developed my leadership skills by organizing and leading workshops. And I grew as a public speaker by learning to speak up and share my thoughts freely. I learned to collaborate and build a community, not just in like Mind Out Loud, but also in my committee. And I also learned how to take ownership and responsibility for my role and its impact on others. So, my life outside of Mind Out Loud, I dance. I do a Indian classical dance called Bharatanatyam, and that's been my lifelong passion, and it's a part of who I am outside of Mind Out Loud. I also volunteer at my public library, and we've hosted events such as like art therapy for kids and other events like that. I'm also really interested in psychology and exploring how society shapes mental health. And so I've attended or I'm going to attend a few summer programs. So last summer I attended a psychology and neuroscience program at Berkeley. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about like the application project or process and how it looked. Like I feel like the application process for Berkeley was pretty chill. It wasn't too competitive and the program was really fun. So there was a professor who would basically teach us about the different paths we could take if we wanted to pursue psychology and neuroscience. And I think that just like gave me insight into what I would want to do in my future. And then I will be attending a social determinants of health summer program at Stanford. I think, well, I'm not sure about the program yet, but I think the application process was way more competitive. So you don't have to put a lot of hard work into it because at first I was waitlisted and then I got into it. So yeah, that's just a little bit about my life outside MOL.
Hi everyone, I'm Frankie. This is my fourth year as a student rep and my third year as a student director as a current senior. So, a little bit about my Mind Out Loud experience. I joined Mind Out Loud my freshman year, and I was really eager to learn more about mental health awareness because I had like lived mental health experience, but I wasn't really engaging in a lot of different like mental health or youth advocacy spaces. And so, Mind Out Loud was really like my introduction into that space and really shaped who I am as a mental health advocate and taught me so much of what I know about mental health literacy and like so many other things. I am a 4-year member of the digital design committee. Essentially, what we do is we do digital design, like we promote Mind Out Loud through various social medias. We design a lot of infographics that, highlight our student reps or different events that we're doing, like the workshops or different like publications for the different committees, for example, podcasts, any content that Mind Out Loud puts out, we're in charge of, sort of promoting that and also the program as a whole, as well as just raising mental health literacy and awareness through social media. Because I think very often we hear that like social media is something that has very negative mental health impacts. And while I do agree with that to a certain extent, I think it can also be a very positive thing. I heard about Mind Out Loud through social media. And I think what we do here at Mind Out Loud is very geared towards the mission of kind of like spreading mental health awareness through social media. And so I think that can be a very positive thing too. And another thing I want to touch on sort of about my Mind Out Loud experience was that Mind Out Loud gave me the ability to host different in-person and online breakouts and listening sessions. So I did include some photos on my slides. That photo there on the left was my junior year in which we had a breakout at Wellness Together's conference in Anaheim. And essentially, we kind of presented on Mind Out Loud as a program to more adult audiences because the conference is very much geared towards adults. And so a lot of the attendees were like school members, staff members, counselors, people who all work with children. And so we kind of really promoted our program, kind of explained who we are, our mission, things like that. And, really tried to get these adults to encourage their students to join. And something that really sticks out to me about this experience in particular was that we played this activity at the end of our session, which was like kind of across the line. And so basically what we would do is we would ask like a question or like a statement and say like cross the line if blah blah blah, and like basically if that applied to you, you would like stand up, and we sort of played the activity, but like the prompt slowly got deeper and deeper, and I really saw like the audience, like these adults really connecting heavily to the content that we were talking about. And so I think that moment really helped shape who I am as a person and like my experience dealing with adults, because a lot of the times, like especially being in Mind Out Loud, I feel like I'm surrounded by a lot of students. Like we rarely ever interact with adults. But I think that moment really showed me that there are like a lot of adult allies and like adults who are interested and care about youth mental health and want to help us. And that kind of goes along with this year, where I was invited to speak on a panel hosted by Wellness Together and Blue Shield, which essentially talked about, you know, youth mental health. And I was sort of there to represent like the youth side of the conversation, because it was very much facilitated by, you know, adults, educators, doctors, researchers, like people with very much adult jobs and adult experiences. And I'm just here like a senior in high school. But I really appreciated that I had that platform and was able to sort of share my own unique perspective on youth mental health and other things like that. And so I would just say that Mind Out Loud has been a very, you know, valuable part of my high school experience, my mental health advocacy experience. That experience taught me a lot about, you know, just using my voice, and Mind Out Loud as a whole has really, like Shruti said, given me a lot of confidence to do public speaking and things like that, and also just really like be able to advocate for myself and for others. So going a little bit back to what I've learned through my time in Mind Out Loud, I feel like I really gained skills in administration and leadership through my experience as a student director. Like a lot of what we do is very intensive. Like we have to do all sorts of different things, like on the administrative side. Like we have had to restructure the program, interview people, send a lot of emails, like just do like a lot of planning. And honestly, I find myself like I feel like I really enjoy things like that. And so it was kind of cool to like get that sort of like almost like corporate experience a little bit, but like as a student, like through my role as a student director. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Going back to my role in digital design, I gained a lot of social media and design skills. Through the 4 years I've spent in this program, I feel like I've grown a lot in my design. Like I really experimented with different like fonts and colors, and like obviously like this is like kind of boring, but like it's like interesting to me, you know? And so like I really have grown like a passion for design and a lot of like hard skills in design that I feel like I can take with me to like college, career, and even beyond. And at like the core of my experience in Mind Out Loud, I feel like this program has really furthered my mental health literacy. It has taught me so many things from like so many different perspectives that I never would have otherwise known. Like our program is comprised of students from all over the nation, all with like very different, unique experiences, and the way that like mental health is perceived in like their own communities varies a lot. And so being able to see a lot of like diverse perspectives on mental health, especially in youth, has really like opened my eyes to the importance of raising awareness for youth mental health and the importance of, you know, reducing stigma. Because like within this program, I feel like I've had a lot of very important and impactful conversations that I wouldn't have otherwise had. I felt like I've really gotten more comfortable coming out of my shell to talk about mental health. Like I think before I was really like scared because I didn't want to be seen as weak or like anything like that. But I think like Mind Out Loud has really given me the skills and the confidence to be able to advocate for myself and like talk about mental health like it's a normal thing and not like something that's like really dark and scary. And lastly, I honestly owe my whole life to Mind Out Loud in a kind of way, because it has really encouraged me to pursue a career in psychology. I talked about earlier being able to talk with adult like school psychologists, like professionals in the mental health field because of my role in Mind Out Loud, and seeing the work that they do has been very inspiring. And so that has really inspired me to sort of pursue a similar path. So now for my life outside of Mind Out Loud, Mind Out Loud isn't the only place where I do like digital design and graphic design. I was in charge of running my school's like basically Instagram and TikTok page for my Associated Student Body, or ASB, and I was able to use a lot of like the design skills and also like the leadership skills that I gained in Mind Out Loud through my time in ASB. Another thing is like the public speaking skills that I really gained throughout Mind Out Loud. I was able to utilize throughout my time as a volunteer at my local botanical gardens. I had to interact with a lot of different like patrons and customers, like that were like adults from different countries, things like that. And I feel like Mind Out Loud really gave me the confidence to sort of speak to those people and like not get embarrassed talking in front of a lot of people. And as for my future plans, because I'm a senior, I am an incoming freshman this fall at the University of California, Davis, and I will be studying psychology with plans to become a school psychologist.
Hi, my name is Sophie, and this year I am a second-year student representative and an incoming student director. So I joined Mind Out Loud my sophomore year. I'm currently a junior, a rising senior, and I served as a member of the publications committee that first year, where I worked on like monthly newspapers. And then my second year, which was this year, I switched to being the digital design lead, and basically, this is just managing Mind Out Loud social media and infographics and all promotional materials. So we would we would work with other committees, to like promote their work and just anything Mind Out Loud related. And I had the privilege of hosting a breakout session for this year's 6th annual event. What I've learned. So I feel like I've strengthened my leadership skills as I learned to better manage my time and delegate tasks, especially as like the digital design lead. I had to learn to like ask for help when I needed it, and just to like spread out like tasks evenly among like my team. I also improved my graphic design skills on Canva, of course, again, from being in digital design, and I became a more confident public speaker and mental health advocate. Outside of Mind Out Loud, I am at my school. I'm the member of my school student government and National Honor Society, and I also recently won the Dragon Kim Fellowship to expand my growth mindset and education initiative, the Mindset Mission. And basically, what this fellowship is that it's kind of like a leadership program in which they provide you with a $5,000 grant, mentorship, and like networking resources to help you expand like whatever project you have. In this case, like in the context of my project, we're using the money and resources provided by the program to put on a kids summer camp this year related to growth mindset. Okay, and here are some resources. We have Mind Out Loud, Crisis Lifelines, and you can always, of course, contact us at hello@mindoutloud.org, and make sure to follow our Instagram at Mind Out Loud Students. Thank you.